Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Coffee Break, and welcome back to the CoffeeCast ProCast Edition, where it is going to be game number 2 between Lucifron, who's spawning on the lower right-hand side of that nice 5 o'clock position here on Ohana. He's going to be our Green Terran player, up 1-0 versus his opponent in the top left-hand side, who is going to be mouzMana, our orange Protoss player. Last game we did see Lucifron open up with a 1-Rax expand into double gas reactor Hellions Banshees. And really, all things considered, I don't feel like he actually did all that much damage with it. Yes, he did win the game, but I think that was more because of a couple of nice, well-placed EMPs. More so than any harassment that he really did with the Hellions and with the Banshees. So I think I would like to see a different opening out of Lucifron this game. I don't think that was the best opening, and I don't think that that's a super great opening in this matchup. But that being said, there was nothing wrong with it. It didn't. I don't really feel like it put him any further behind. I mean, he had all this tech in place. You know, he had the tech lab to start getting stim with. Obviously, that's the great thing about Terran. I mean, you can just switch off your buildings, and everything's going to be fine. Oh, I forgot to. If you guys don't mind, I apologize here. But I want to turn up the sound just a little bit here because it was very quiet last game. I forgot to do that in between games. But yeah, I don't think that put him that far behind in the game. I guess it was an alright opening in that right. It got him his 2 gases very early. But as far as the actual unit composition went, as far as the actual build order went, I don't think that it was anything too terribly special. So we'll have to see what he does decide to do this game. I assume Mana is going to be doing that 17-18 Nexus once again. As again, there was nothing really wrong. No, actually going to be going Cyber Core first this time. There's nothing wrong with his opening in the last game. In fact, this map actually, I feel, is a little bit larger than our previous map. So I'm a little bit surprised that we are not seeing that very early expansion once again here. But nothing wrong with that. Might actually be a little scared of proxies because he was not quite over here yet. I do know Ohana is a very popular map for proxies. Why, I actually have no idea, to be quite honest. But yeah, I suppose you might just kind of be defending against that possibility. Plus, this is just a little bit safer of an opening. A lot of players, you know, if you lose game number 1, you might want to do something that you feel is a little bit more reliable, a little bit easier going, I suppose, where you don't have to constantly worry about, you know, 2 racks pressure or 3 racks pressure barreling down your front door. I did take a quick chance to look at my other replay. Command Center is now going down for Lucifron. No gases quite yet for him. I did get a chance to look at that replay from the first game. And it looks like, as far as I could tell, OBS did a very good job. I didn't notice any glaring errors there. It didn't even actually look all that laggy to me. Oh, actually, Lucifron losing his scout over here to a zealot, which that scout was going to die fairly quickly to the stalker, but still kind of surprising. I would even go as far as saying that was a mistake. I think OBS did a very good job. And I even feel like there's a reduced lag between XSplit and OBS. I feel like OBS handles it a little bit better here. So hopefully you guys agree with my sentiments. Once again, please leave a comment if you do notice anything wrong that you'd like me to fix. 2 command centers going down for Lucifron now. Second one just on his way, about a third of the way done. Now a second barracks is going down, and he can only assume that his opponent is going to be expanding because he didn't actually see that. But he did kind of see the opening. He saw that there was only 1 gas here. Oh man, I'm scrolling way too much. He did manage to see that there was another gas here. Oh, no second gas there. Man, my words are just gone as per usual. And I mean, at that point, you really know that your opponent has to be expanding. Mana not able to quite get up this ramp here. Does see the bunker there. You cannot rely solely on the bunker to tell you that there is an expansion here, unfortunately, as it's a little bit of an older strategy. But a lot of the time when players used to just do a lot of 1-rack expands and 17 CCs, they'd throw a bunker here, put a marine or 2 in there, and force the scout backwards. And then they do something like a 1-1-1-esque build where they would just do a 1-base all-in when the Protoss player thought that they could really go ahead and expand safely, I suppose. Tech Lab and Reactor going down on these 2 barracks here. That 3rd command center now finished up. So Lucifron going to be taking a nice little lead economically. They're probably just going to use that for double SCV production and a 3rd mule, or pardon me, triple SCV production and a 3rd mule for a little bit of time before he can safely expand into that 3rd base as... I mean, yeah, he has these 2 bunkers on the high ground here, but that's not going to really protect a 3rd base all that well. Stalker is in position, though, outside that natural expansion just to make sure that his opponent is not going to be moving out anytime soon. Sentry's taking an interesting scouting route around the map here, probably going to be able to take out this SCV, and yes, they do. I don't exactly know what these three sentries are doing. They might have been looking for something. You know, I'm going to be honest. Maybe he saw something that I didn't. In fact, he probably did. But I completely missed that there. All 4 gases are now taken from Mana, who is going to be opening up the same way in this game as he did in the previous game here. Going to be getting that robotics out, which is going to allow him to get his observer. Then the Twilight Council. 1 forge is on the way somewhere. There's 1 forge. No second forge quite yet, but when you're really going for everything all at once, when you're getting a lot of observers up, when you're getting the Templar Archive, when you're getting charged, it's a little bit difficult to go immediately into those double upgrades. So probably going to be waiting just a little bit to drop that second forge like we saw last game. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a second forge, at least sometime soon. I mean, double upgrades are obviously, you know, just freaking great. Double upgrades are going to be coming out over on Lucifron's side of things. Missile turret going up preemptively at the top of this ramp. This is something that you're seeing a lot of Terran players do. It's only, oh crap, I can't remember. I'm gonna be honest, I can't remember. I always think StarCraft 1. Yeah, it's 100. I think it was 75 in Brood War, and for some reason that's still ingrained in my mind somehow. I just played so much Brood War. I played a lot of Brood War. I didn't play any 1v1s really, but I did play a lot of customs. And apparently I played enough for all that to just get like solidified in my mind. Observer is going to die, but don't worry guys, there's another one. I was saying something important over here. Oh yeah, double upgrades are coming down for Lucifron. Going to be dropping that armory so he can go ahead and get level 2 upgrades as well. Storm now on the way though. Storm is going to be on the way. And is there a Ghost Academy yet on the field? I don't quite know. A couple of those bunkers are being salvaged. I think Lucifron was expecting some sort of imminent attack there because he had 4 bunkers up and of course this missile turret here, and there really wasn't anything scary. Let's see what's the last thing that Lucifron saw over here. Okay, I guess the last thing Lucifron saw was all these gateways in this robotics. The double gas Q has not yet scouted this expansion. I mean, at this point he knows it's there. Does not know the 3rd base is going down though, which is kind of a bigger deal there. One High Templar and a couple of Zealots being warped in at this forward pylon, and now it looks like Mana might be looking to do something. Again, this is interesting positioning out of Mana, who really doesn't have the forces he needs to be able to push into his opponent's base here. I mean, yeah, he has a lot of High Templar, that's a lot of storming capabilities, but storms obviously can be dodged. That being said, though, even with storm dodging, you can't storm dodge when there are a bunch of force fields around your army, so it looks like that might be what Mana is planning. Does Lucifron have any wind of this? No, he does not. So he's going to need to be very careful unless he's just going to completely push out and abandon this base, which is kind of bad for him. These High Templar are probably just going to take up a little bit of a position in the back here. And, oh, is he actually going to run straight up into this natural expansion? Guardian Shield does go down. A great storm going down right there. Going to hold back the forces of Lucifron for just a moment. There are a couple more force shields going down on that ramp. We're going to allow Mana to run up into this natural expansion. Oh, gets a great force shield down on the ramp. And a perfect storm on top of those SCVs. That is going to be a lot of damage being done there. Now Lucifron able to come up that ramp and reinforce his army. But guess what? There are some storms on the ramp. They're going to be pushing Lucifron's army back down to the low ground. There are a lot of SCVs obviously went down in that initial storm. Now this army is going to die here, but I think Mana really did a great number of damage there. Even going to be able to get that Archon out, kill an extra Marine before everything is said and done. Coming over to that workers kill tab, 20 workers just got killed by Lucifron, which is going to, by Mana, which is going to put him at a 14 harvester advantage. And guess what? There's no base advantage now for Lucifron, as the 3rd base of Mana has now been established. Once again, just needs to take the gases number 5 and 6, and he will be good to go into his Colossus production. I think Lucifron might have been caught a little bit off guard by that attack, because he actually does not have a Ghost Academy down on the field yet. I think he was just expecting Colossus after stinging that robotics there with the 3 gateways, which is a little bit of a misread on his part. That's one reason why scouting is so important. He was ready to counter one thing and really just not the other. Over in Lucifron's base, we just see a lot of barracks, really, and actually could probably use a couple of additional barracks. A nice storm going down there, going to push Lucifron's army back once again, and even pick off a few units. There are plenty of storms in this army, right? Oh, actually, I guess not. No, those are just Zealots. I apologize. I'm just looking at a bunch of Zealots. The Archon's going to die immediately. Charge is finished, though, but a great positioning there by Lucifron on that ramp. He can pretty much hold that all day. That's like the Spartan hold right there against Persia. Colossus production now starting. I don't know if it's going to be a complete transition over to Colossus, or if he is going to continue to use High Templar with his army as well. Both are actually completely viable, and especially a lot of players actually do like to cut the cut the High Templar production, because the ghosts come onto the field, and then suddenly those ghosts are not completely completely worthless, but much less useful versus the Colossus, as opposed that word just Colossus. That word just like completely trailed off. I don't know what happened to the breath right there. Level 2 weapons going to be starting. Level 3 armor on the way now for our Protoss player in Mana. Over on the Lucifron side of things, we're just at 2-1 right now. Looks like 2-2 just about to finish up. Concussive shells, ship weapons finally finishing up. Now Lucifron starting to settle into that kind of late game mentality here, getting the Ghosts out on the field, getting the Vikings out on the field, and he will be pretty much ready to counter whatever Mana has on the field. So it's going to come down to Mana's control, really. Mana's Storm, keeping those High Templar alive, trying to get the feedback down on the Ghost before the Ghost can get the EMP or the snipes down onto the... I forgot which side I was talking about. Oh yeah, onto the High Templar. And if he can get the EMPs off though before the High Templar get the Storm off, even with the Colossus on the field, I don't think it's going to matter, because the Vikings would be able to take out the Colossus, and suddenly once again, just like we saw in game number 1, all the AoE capabilities of Mana will be gone, and you can just not go up against a Bio army without any sort of AoE capability. I mean, it's almost like going up against a Zerg army without any AoE. I mean, it's just not viable. In the late game, I should say. I guess in the mid game, you can kind of get away with it a little bit with just large gateway numbers. Anyways, that's a completely different matchup that I should not be talking about here. Blink is on the way. That's what I was talking about last game. You just kind of always get Blink in general, just because it's a very for some reason my brain wants to say utilitarian. It's a very good utility to have in your army. Just kind of on general principle, great for harassing in the late game. If you lose your army, if both players lose their army, you can go ahead and do a little bit of harassment and try to take out bases, try to take out SCVs with Blink Stalkers rather than trying to build up a big punch force and push in. Fourth base now established for mouzMana, who has a very nice positioning here in the middle of the map. Going to be able to have good watchtower vision there. As long as he can keep an eye on what is moving towards this base, he'll be in a fairly good position. Right now, I'd actually really like to have something like over here, though, because a Terran army could technically slip through this little gap here. You can see this little bit of sight range that Mana cannot see. A Terran army could slip through there and be able to get some scouting off. Looks like a Sim Marauder going to be coming in here, going to be able to scout out this base here and turn around and needlessly attack the cannon. He is a dead Marauder. Now Lucifron knows that base is there. Going to be moving over there. Mana knows that Lucifron knows. That's a mouthful. He knows that she knows that he knows that's going to be kind of a prime target there for Lucifron. So Mana going to be repositioning his army, getting that pre-split going, a nice split there. And even, you know what, he has some extra resources, so let's throw down a couple of cannons just on general principle here. Going to be sending up a few Marauders here, take out those cannons. That's child's play, almost being able to take those out. We just have so many extra minerals right now, getting near that max out point. In fact, now is maxed out, and this is when you kind of see all these other random upgrades starting to come into play. We have the movement speed of the observers, which is actually really nice in PvZ. Not the biggest thing in PvT, but I always get it in the late game just because, you know, faster observer movement, better scouting, more efficient scouting, being able to see what your opponent's transitioning to, being able to see where your opponent's bases are, all can be a very big deal. These Marauders' lives are forfeit, and that's pretty much for free, especially considering, oh gosh, that they didn't get that photon cannon. That's almost just annoying for Lucifron at this point in time that he wasn't able to kill that off. Planetary Fortress being morphed in over at the fourth base here. I'm surprised to see that we aren't having any drops. There is a medevac over on the right side of the map that could potentially drop in the future there. And this is where Blink can come into play, actually, is running forward with the Stalkers, trying to pick off a couple of Vikings or a couple of medevacs, and then blinking backwards. There are just so many Vikings on the field and medevacs on the field right now, though, that I almost feel like killing a couple of off would just be completely pointless, as, I mean, there's just so many of them. I mean, there's almost a needless number of them, especially considering that we only have, what, 4 Colossus? Oh, there's the other. There's the others. Okay, so, whoa, almost being able to one-shot the Colossus. Didn't quite get it. That Colossus going to live with 24 health, but that Colossus life is going to be forfeit. Not the best engagement angle, therefore Lucifron. Mana in a great position there. Now Lucifron falling all the way back, and Mana does not want to engage in that. That's a bad little corner for him to be in, so he's going to fall back into this little bit of a cannon line here. And that's going to be a much better position. He's going to be able to kind of split his army around this island, get us around with the charge lots, which are kind of acting almost like Zerglings in this case. There are a lot of ghosts in this army actually as well. In fact, are there like any Marines in this army? It looks like only 19 somewhere. This medevac finally on the move here. I'm once again surprised that he's not trying to do some sort of counter drop, as right now Mana cannot actually warp in because he is maxed out. So a drop could potentially do quite a bit of damage. It looks like now is the time for Mana to go right as I was about to take a drink of water. Oh, a couple of defensive storms trying to go down there. Going to hold the army of Lucifron back for a moment while Mana repositions himself. There we go. Nice little blink backwards to save those stalkers alive. There's a drop going down into this 5th-ish base. What's now relegated to being the 5th base, I should say. And that could potentially run over into this 3rd base and force Mana to pull a few units backwards to defend against that. Could also potentially just run up and take out a little bit of the sight that Mana has right now. Sight is so important at this point in the game, being able to see where your opponent's army is being repositioned. 3 nuclear missiles are on the way there. 1, oh my goodness, a stalker actually being taken down by the ghost. That's not something you see very often. Is the ghost not really doing all that much damage actually. Few zealots are going to be killed off over here, probably just trying to free up some supply to make a bigger and better units, which indeed, yep, there is a couple of High Templars going down on the field, and guess what, there's also a nuke going down there, no detection over here, that goes right outside range. There we go, going to be able to kill that off and be able to blink backward. That observer was not sniped quickly enough. Probably going to be remaking an observer. Yeah, 3 observers actually on the field now. Now Mana's a little bit scared of that potential of Lucifron there. Going to be making quite a few. Zealots going to be sacked over here into this this middle area here, kind of into these command centers. This is something you'll see Terran players do a lot in the late game. They'll start making a lot of command centers, turn them into orbital commands, and sack SCVs so they can get a large army, and instead opt to use mules as opposed to SCVs for their supply count. Another Colossus coming onto the field now. And that's what you get when you start sacking these units. You can start getting these higher tech units. Only 3 Colossus on the field, going to be 4 in just a little bit here. 11 High Templar though. There's like an unordinary number of spellcasters on the field. 15 Ghosts, 11 High Templars, 2 nukes I would like to say still remain on the field as well. Zealots caught a little bit behind those Blink Stalkers. That's not too big a deal. There we go. Oh, this is actually going to be going very well for Lucifron, I feel. Oh, but that 4th base did get sniped. There are so many extra command centers on the field, though I almost don't know if it matters. A lot of Mana's army going down there, but a lot of the Vikings being picked off as well. So a remaker of Colossus coming onto the field there, and Mana going to have to, Lucifron going to have to remake those Vikings, which is going to be a little bit annoying for him. 1 snipe does go down, but I don't think that High Templar did die. A lot of Vikings taken out in that engagement. Only 5 remained. And Mana, Lucifron wants to do a little bit of retaliatory damage, but he just quite can't make it, or whatever the proper syntax is there. It looks like we do have a couple of Zealots blocking off the 5th base from going down there. Oh, looks like Mana wants to engage here. Oh, where are the storms? There we go, a couple of nice storms going down on top of this army. That's what he needed. They're almost killing off all of its own observers as well, but I think Mana definitely getting the better end of this engagement. Where's his remacro? There's his remacro. A lot of Zealots being remacroed in here, going to be able to get a little bit of a split there as well. A couple of EMPs going off on the warping in Zealots, but I don't think it's going to be enough. 144 to 161 supply, but Mana going to be able to win this engagement. A lot of that supply that remains is going to be in the medevacs. Stalkers blinking backwards, just going to try to hold on for that next big warping of units. There are plenty of resources to warp in with. I don't even think Mana's actually scared at this point in time. In fact, yeah, there we go. Oh, a couple of nice EMPs do go down. This base could potentially be sniped, but I don't think that, oh, actually, I really don't think that there's enough on the ground right now for Lucifron. There are just too many goals on the field. Not really enough DPS. Once again, does go down trying to kill off those observers, but oh, Mana going to be able to pull those observers back just in time. They are not going to be able to get killed off, which means that these close ghosts are being spotted right now. Zealots charging up on top of those. Stalkers blinking forward. We even have a Colossus, or had a Colossus on the field for a couple of moments there, and this isn't even the full force right here for Mana. And I think Mana is actually in a very good position to take this game. Lucifron just not really doing all that, well, gosh dang it, not really doing all that much mining. Very, very low on minerals right now. Not able to establish this base once again because that's getting blocked by the Zealots, and this base was taken out earlier on by Mana. Now 180 to 94, 97 supply, and dropping for Lucifron. Not even going to take a chance. Just going to blink backwards. He knows he has this game and does not want to sacrifice his lead doing something stupid. Just getting a lot of Archons on the field, a lot of Colossus. He knows his opponent cannot keep doing the unit production that he's doing because once again, he knows this base is blocked. He knows that this base just got landed, which means there are no additional bases that Lucifron can be taking on the map. So he knows Lucifron's mining going to be very, very low. Naturals are mined out, main obviously mined out, 3rd base getting very close to being mined out as well. Mana just kind of trying to decide where he wants to position his army, where he wants to engage this, and that's going to kind of be the final selling point of this game. Only a couple of ghosts left on the field for that EMP against the Archons, and there is the GG from Lucifron. So we are going to be going into game number 3 in this PvT, TVP, whatever series. Oh, quick stretch here. Oh gosh, the headset's going off. Once again, if you notice anything wrong with this broadcast, specific to OBS, please let me know down in the comments. Pretty much just leave me a comment anyways, just because I love reading your comments, and I do try to get back to those when I do have time. Also, click the subscribe button. It's around here somewhere, and I will be going on to game number 3 in this best of 3 series in just a moment. Until next time, folks, this is Coffee Break, signing out.